Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Stride by Stride. I'm Martin.
I'm Josh.
And we are going to be running around Stoke Park Estate today. Excellent. And on today's show, we are going to catch up with Club Championship. Not much news there, but we'll do it anyway.
What's been going on at the club.
Yep.
We've also got a star guest again today.
Yeah, we have, and we'll introduce him in a moment. And we'll talk about marathons that are coming up. There's lots going on this week.
There is.
That. And we'll talk about our competition, which is ongoing.
Yes.
Which we probably need to do first, actually.
Let's do
Because
that.
we do need to set that up. Okay, so today's competition
is how many times we say running, run, or runner.
Yep.
And the prize is a race in December.
Yeah, plain crazy,
Plain
12
crazy.
and a half miles. So all people need to do is just send predictions to us by the 6th of May of how many times we say run, runner, or running, and they can email us at stridebystridepodcast@gmail.com.
And you can also find us on Instagram, send us a message there, and we'll pick them up. That would be amazing. And then we'll pick a winner, and one of you lucky lot, not me or Martin apparently, because it's against the rules, will win that great prize.
Yeah, excellent. Right, so we get running then. So we've
Let's go.
We've done the admin. Let's get going. And so we're going to get going. Right. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to introduce our guest. So Duncan, welcome to Stride by Stride.
Hello, Martin.
Yeah. And we're really pleased to have you on today's show. But before we do talk to you, I just wanted to have a bit of a talk about our route today. So we brought you up to Stoke Park Estate today, which is a Grade 2 listed historic park in North Bristol. It has a distinctive feature of having a big yellow house that you see on the motorway as you enter Bristol. Sadly, you can't access it via the motorway. That would just cause a few little mishaps. Don't do that, people.
No.
Duncan, thanks for coming on today and running with us, which is the most important thing, because that's what we're looking forward to the most. Just wanted to kind of get a bit of, turning left down here, Josh.
Oh, sorry.
Get a bit of an indication about you as a runner to begin with. Can you kind of fill us in on your kind of running history, as it were, where it all started, and which might bring us up to present, I guess?
Well, it's strange coming from a family. My dad was a sprinter and played first-class rugby. Both my brothers, older than me, were hugely fit. So always felt a bit in their shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at school, much to my dad's disappointment, I had no interest in any ball games or anything like that. All I really wanted to do was cycle and swim. And I think one of the main reasons I didn't really take part at school was because the approach was, Goff, your father was a sprinter. You need to be in my cross-country team. If they'd said, why don't you come along to my cross-country team, you might enjoy it, I might have done it. But it was just like,
Felt pressurised, didn't
Yeah.
it?
my reaction
Lots
to
of
bullying
pressure.
is just to dig my heels in. And so I did throughout my school career. But, as I say, cycling and swimming are essentially,
Your first sport.
well, I could only really do them on my own in those days.
Yeah.
School didn't have a pool. We had a swimming team, which was quite a laugh, but very poorly attended. So, you know, all my mates played rugby and stuff, and I always assumed they were much fitter than me. And it was really only after I left school at 16, most of my mates stayed on to do A-levels. I remember meeting them once, probably the summer in the middle of the sixth form sort of thing. Bumped into them all doing their pre-season rugby training out for a run. I said, "Oh, I'll come with you." And I certainly didn't make a habit of running in those days. But I kind of realised I was actually vastly fitter than any of them.
Really?
Just because I cycled all the time. And then again, the irony increases. When I went to do my degree at Loughborough, the place for PE,
Yeah.
and I did manufacturing engineering. Again, didn't do anything with any seriousness at college, but did start running a bit.
Yeah.
But I think a critical point in what turned me on to physical activity was very important to me.
Yeah.
Was when I was at the tech college, within a few weeks of starting there, one of the lecturers burst into one of my lectures, said, right, I'm taking some people up to the Lake District for one finite weekend. Want to come? So I went along.
Yeah.
First thing like that I'd ever, outdoor pursuits weekend. First thing I'd ever done like that. And I was just in my element. Loved it.
Yeah. It does sound like you love it.
As I say, kind of missed an opportunity at university to not get more involved in that sort of thing. But then once I left university, my mate and I got into rock climbing and thence mountaineering, and living in the Midlands where it was flat, I just found
to venture off a bit.
Running was a good idea to be fit enough to keep up with my mate at weekends, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of started running, but in those days, funny looking back, I really wish that parkrun had existed then, and clubs like ours had existed then.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know what I was doing. I lived in a bit out in the sticks in a village. So I just ran from home, and I hurt myself quite a lot, I think, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, because you were sort of putting in too much effort, or was it just a case of?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And I was running on tarmac in rubbish trainers and that sort of thing. And a few people I knew so said, oh, you ought to do London Marathon, which was around that time, early 90s, was just becoming a big event.
Okay.
So me and my brother applied, and we both got places.
Wow.
In
so
93,
you actually
I
got
think
to do
that
it with
was.
your brother?
Sorry?
You got it to do with your brother, the London Marathon?
Bill's he's 5 years older than me. He actually got a place. I got rejected on the ballot.
Oh.
But a mate of mine, because I worked in a big factory, mate of mine who ran the running mafiosi of the factory, he controlled some charity places.
Okay.
And he gave one to me. So.
Oh, brilliant!
That worked out really well. Did you guys did you complete the race together, or was it you did your own thing?
Ironically, both of us were hideously injured.
No.
But we got a place at London, so we weren't going to not turn up, were we?
No, got to do it.
So, we went round together, sort of ran the first half fairly steadily, and then sort of walked very painfully most of the rest of it. And finished in, I think it was 5 hours 20.
Okay.
Not good. But
But you got the job done and you got the experience.
I did, but it kind of mentally scarred me, I think.
Oh no.
I hardly ran for, I only ran very sporadically for the next 20 years, really. But, as I say, I was in the mountains every weekend, every opportunity I could get in those days. So I remained very fit. But I think what probably sparked me to get back to running properly was 2009. By then, I'd probably a couple of times a year I'd go out for a longish run, one of them being Christmas Day. But my sister-in-law, who was running Western Hospice Care, phoned me 2 weeks.
This way, sorry.
Oh,
sorry, we deferred direction there.
Okay.
Carry on, Duncan. Sorry, I just totally interrupted you there because we were going to go the wrong way.
And my sister-in-law phoned me 2 weeks before Bristol Half Marathon. Could I run it? Because one of their runners had dropped out. So I did. And felt awful, you know, it just felt so hard. What's ironic now is I look and I've only run one half marathon quicker than that since. But
So things peaked it for you in 2009?
well, no, it's funny, it's just how your head tells you you're going slowly when you're doing the best you can, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I constantly look back at times I have done in the past and think, how did I ever do that? But yeah, that sort of sparked my interest a bit. And then a couple of years after that, my mate said, oh, have you tried parkrun? It's quite fun. And so I went along to Pomfrey, and that was when I really started running properly again.
Right.
And how many years ago was that?
That was, I think it was 9 years ago I started doing parkrun.
Okay.
But then I guess the big turning point was 2019. I accidentally entered London again.
Right. And?
How were these accidents happening?
Well, although I wasn't running very much, obviously I put my name in the ballot and I got a place for 2020. Which, until as soon as I found out about that, I thought, oh, better understand how to run properly.
Okay.
So I joined the club.
All right. So you joined Emerson's Green in 2020
End of 2019.
to get ready for London.
Yeah, which didn't happen.
Yes, the infamous
Of course.
COVID, of course, which came in the way.
Was actually brilliant because it meant, you know, I've never been a great fan of London as a place, and it seemed logistically quite hard to get there.
Yeah.
So actually to be able to do the race on my own,
Oh,
on
so
a
you
route
did
of my own choosing was great.
Did the virtual.
Yeah.
Where did you run, Duncan?
I went up, so from where I live by the Ring Road, I went up to sort of Chipping Sodbury, round out to where Dyson lives, and then sort of back to Chipping Sodbury, up over by Wesley Crematorium, down to Horton, round through Doynton, and back home. Nice route.
There's some hills there then.
There was quite a lot of hills, and it
rained.
well, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Such that if anybody knows the little tiny brook coming down to Horton Farm, just after you've gone over the footbridge over the motorway, which you can normally walk through without really getting your feet wet.
Yeah. But
That was
a torrent.
70 metres wide.
Wow.
And
So you were caught in a raging torrent.
yeah, I could actually have gone, there is a route round it on footpaths, but didn't want to get my feet muddy.
Fair enough.
So I was wading up to my waist instead.
Yeah, mate.
Obviously
makes
better.
perfect sense.
I guess. I'm just waiting for you to catch up.
Yeah.
I guess what I'd be really interested in kind of knowing how they from there is that, you know, when you're faced with those challenges, those technical challenges on the trail, what is it that you do? I mean, are you kind of instantly going, right, problem solving, or do you have a moment like, oh, this is tricky,
Well,
and then you let the brain kick in?
I sort of do, but I am very stoic and very self-dependent. Consequently, I see it as a challenge and just think, well, can't be impossible to get through. How hard can it be?
Yeah, find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a really wet day, that one. I remember it. I was doing the virtual challenge because I was supposed to be running London Marathon that year as well.
Yeah.
And Good morning.
Good morning.
I got dragged along by Paul doing the southern section of the community forest path
All right. Yeah.
in that rain.
I remember him saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and there's one section of it that goes over a railway bridge just down in Long Ashton. And that railway bridge was waist deep in water.
Yeah.
So on top of the railway bridge, this is. When you get further round, just before you get into a place called Norton Merriwood, there was a river running down the road.
Wow.
That we could barely cross. It was an unbelievably hard day of running.
And what was your time then for your virtual dipping?
Mine?
Yes.
Better than my previous marathon time.
Yeah?
I think it was just about 5 hours.
And you, Martin?
On that day, it was about 4:30, I think it was.
Even with all those massive floods?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first sort of 10k or so was just getting from my house down to Ashton Court. So that would have been fairly speedy. That would have been like road marathon pace. Lost a bit of time later on.
Did you both enjoy it, even though the weather conditions were so...
Oh, it made it far more exciting from my point of view. Just felt like, an
adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Which is what running should be, I
feel
think.
the same?
I don't know, I'm still processing it.
Still processing it?
Yeah, at the time I was just desperately cold. Just so cold, and my energy, of course when you're cold, you actually burn off more energy, don't you?
Yeah,
and you do suffer.
And you worry more calories away because you're cold.
Yeah, and I just felt like I was just dipping and it's that age-old thing of like when you don't feel strong, it can alter your experience.
Yeah.
Plus, it was only my second semi-competitive marathon, so difficult that one. Yes. Shall I say yes? That was the short answer, wasn't it?
Well, I like it when you're more honest, really.
I was actually, on the day, I was really angry, actually, just because of the way London Marathon events, supposedly the best events company in the world, had organised it.
Yeah.
That they insisted for the virtual, you used their app.
And the app was rubbish.
Which only appeared the week before.
Yeah.
You couldn't test it.
No.
And, I only run with a phone. Longer runs, I'll take a phone.
Yeah.
Just in case I need to phone home for a lift or something. So, I set it all up as they said. Left home, and I'd arranged with my wife to meet her at various points.
Yeah.
To feed me.
Nice.
And the first one was only about a couple of miles in, just to make sure everything was working. And I remember pulling my phone out quickly, and it said low battery.
Oh, no. So really, it was quite draining.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I just thought, shit. On a day like this, when I'd kind of like an emergency phone handy, I haven't got one.
No, because...
But the app, something they hadn't actually admitted to before the day, was the tracking didn't tell you where you were.
Oh.
Told you where you would be on the London route.
It really virtualised everything, didn't it?
It was just idiotic.
Transported you to the Isle of Dogs. Well, I'm not on the Isle of Dogs.
The thing is,
I'm on the top of Dundry.
On what was a wild day for the whole...
stood in a river.
Well, on what was a wild day for the whole country.
Yeah.
I lived in Snowdonia or Lake District.
That would have been...
I might have thought, well, I've got this tracking app. I might do something really challenging.
Yeah.
And that would have put my life in danger.
Yes, yeah.
But the worst...
If you were relying on that singular app, you
exactly.
put yourself in a position which is
not
not
where
ideal.
Not that I would, but
No.
I would have understood if some people did.
Yeah.
And Lynn's, each time I met up with her, she said, well, it appears to be 7 miles behind you. And I think it gave up altogether at 14.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not great, is it?
But I was very suspicious because at midnight, you know, so last thing before the event,
Yeah.
an update came through for the app, and I think they deliberately put a bug in, so they knew it wouldn't work, such that when I eventually, knowing that I'd done 27 miles or something,
Yeah.
when I eventually pressed stop, it said, "Congratulations, you've completed the London Marathon." It was saying I'd done 14 miles.
Yeah.
That is rubbish.
But I think what they actually did is they backed it up by saying that you could upload your Strava.
Yeah, that's what I did in the end. But,
Which I suppose they had to do.
but,
Yeah.
I think they've learned a lot from that.
but why they, you know, how they could have the arrogance to say use our app rather than use Strava or Garmin, you know, these established ones that everybody uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when everyone was doing it virtually.
I was actually so offended that I turned down my place for the following year.
You didn't go back.
Hasn't actually stopped me entering the ballot.
No,
Because you do.
that's something. That's just a running activity, isn't it?
But
you need your winter training top. That's what it is. Top up your wardrobe.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to enter though. I've
Do
done
you
it
not?
once. I haven't entered since.
I think probably at this point it would be a good opportunity to wish all of the runners that we know, although this will be going out after the London Marathon, we have wished you well and well done.
Yeah.
It's the second thing.
Absolutely.
London Marathon's a funny one. I spoke about it last time as being like a lifelong dream, and then I think it was on episode 2 actually, wasn't it? 3?
Yeah, something
where
like
I said it was a lifelong dream for me, and then when I actually eventually got there, it just didn't quite connect in the way that I was anticipating. I guess I just built it up to be something that was just kind of immense because everyone talks about it.
it's funny, I can't help feeling I'd be disappointed doing it again now, but when I did it in 93, as I say, that was the 10th, 12th year or something, so it was when it was just becoming a really big event.
Yeah.
Last year it finished on Westminster Bridge.
Yeah.
And a mate of mine at work who'd encouraged me to do it, who'd done it several times, he said, "You wait, when you get into Birdcage Walk," so in those days you ran up the Mall, down Birdcage Walk, finished on the bridge.
Okay.
He said, "When you get into Birdcage Walk, you'll have a little tear in your eye." And I thought,
Yeah, I do.
and especially the time we arrived there, I thought, there'll be no one there. But Birdcage Walk had like bleachers all the way along it, and they were still pretty well full at over 5 hours, and everybody was cheering, and you're in amongst these buildings that were built at the height of empire, go up to the sky.
Yeah.
I was just in floods of tears as I came across the bridge.
Really?
That's
phenomenal.
really good, isn't it?
That's lovely.
That was what I was hoping for. I was really hoping for
Yeah.
that emotional. I mean, I smiled a lot. I did smile a lot. It is.
Well, you have to. You're on TV.
Yeah.
Well, in those days, for instance, I think they just built the tower at Canary Wharf, but the rest of Docklands was just flat.
Yeah, like a bit of a dereliction, wasn't it?
A couple of pubs still standing,
Yeah.
and there were thousands of people out there cheering. It was a phenomenal attendance.
It's funny because actually a lot of other mass participation events don't get that level, that same level, and I think we need to do, despite my cynicism about my own experience, is actually recognise that, the crowd are East London.
They're amazing.
It's the London experience, and because
so many of them out there cheering everybody on.
Yeah.
and although Bath Half is really quite a big mass participation event as well, big crowd. The thing with Bath is that the energy's not there in the same way.
No,
I didn't find.
I think you only get that at London. What I've experienced.
Oh, sorry, Josh. You might like to block your ears for this, Josh. It might be
It's
too
okay.
raw, but when I did Newport Marathon last year, and that, because it basically goes out into wasteland, doesn't go quite as far as it used to.
No.
But at the bit on the big lap where you do a sort of a bit of an out and back
Yeah.
to the end of a road.
Yeah, I didn't like
And I was
that.
just amazed how many people were at the end of that road.
Yeah, I was. It
Is that
was.
the bit by the bridge, like the crane that goes across the river?
No,
No.
this is well out of town.
This is
That's
sort
the
of.
weird bit I found.
It's the closest you get nowadays to the Severn Bridge.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah. Yeah, that is a bit weird, yeah.
On the map, it doesn't look very long, but actually, when you run it, you're like, blimey, am I ever going to turn around?
Yeah,
And because it's flat, and for me, it's a bit like some of these country lane 10Ks that you get,
Yeah.
but just a lot longer, 4 times the length. Just like you're going along, and you're like, oh, I can't actually see anything. I'm just see hedgerows everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needed a hill.
yeah,
It needed
Yeah.
something in there just to kind of
Break it up a bit.
switch up your muscle sets and all that sort of stuff. So Duncan, it sounds like a lot of your early fitness came from cycling, and you still cycle now.
yeah.
Am I right in saying that you do triathlon?
I did one last year.
Excellent.
In the past, I've done several, what we believe is the world's only tandem triathlon.
Oh, okay.
My brother and I did it for a few years,
Okay.
just because I had a tandem and it existed.
Wow.
Bit contrived. Bill did the run, I did the swim. But I'd always wanted to do a real one. So last year I did only a little one,
Yeah.
the Olympic distance, the 51.5 at Cirencester.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Wow.
Really good. You know, I might do another one day. Who knows?
And when we spoke to Tamara at
She
the
did
Bristol
one.
running show, she was she did an Ironman.
Yeah.
And she basically, we talked about the discipline in the triathlon that is least favoured quite a bit, swimming.
Yeah. How did you get on with the
But you're
swimming?
a swimmer.
Yeah, I love the swim. I had my reservations because I knew it was going to be a wetsuit event, even though the water was plenty warm enough for it to not be. But they seem to enforce it, and I can understand them doing it. But I'd never really swum in a suit before. So, beginning of January,
Was it much different swimming in a suit?
beginning of January, I bought a proper tri-suit and was swimming in the lake up at Bradley Stoke.
Yeah.
But water was so cold. I think it was the beginning of March before the water actually got warm enough for me to put my face in it and
Right.
swim properly. Up to that point, the suit just felt like an encumbrance. But once I could actually get my face down,
Yeah.
I understood why people say they actually make it easier because they fight your legs a bit.
Yeah.
And I've never really got any power out my legs. My kick has always been to just stop me turning over when I breathe.
Yeah.
But I could actually feel some power with the suit on, which was nice.
And as an event, obviously you enjoyed doing like the triathlon itself, got loads out of it.
Oh yeah,
Would you recommend the 51.5er?
absolutely. I mean, not that I've got a lot to compare it with, but it was a really nice event. The lake was crystal clear. The cycle route was as good as anything around there can be.
It can be quite flat around there, can't it?
There's quite a big hill in it,
Oh,
actually.
is there? Okay.
Yeah, but and the run was flattish, but very pleasant.
What was the rough distance for the swim, the cycling, and the run? Just for people who
Well, the
might be interested.
51.5er designates that the whole event is 51.5 kilometres. So I think it was a 1500 swim,
Okay.
40k cycle, and a 10k run.
So yeah, an ideal first one for anybody out there.
Yeah, well, no, I mean there are sprints and super sprints, which are much shorter. I think a super sprint is only about a 400 swim, normally done in a pool in that case. 5k, 20k cycle and 5k run, something like that.
Okay.
Sorry,
Which anyone could have a go at.
I'm just going to say where we are right now, because it's quite an interesting point on this run if anyone wants to do it. And he said we were just running past a few landmarks within Stoke Park Estate, which is the Purtown radio tower, and then also the World War II gun batteries, which are still there. And also they've got a goat farm here.
I've never been up here.
Goats, and we didn't see any goats. But they've got goats. We're just going to cross this.
This is all new to me.
Duncan, are you? Would you profess to be in more of a road runner or a trail runner or a mix? Or does it not matter to you?
It doesn't matter that much. It's funny you said about me mainly cycling. These days I mostly only cycle for transport.
Okay.
You know, I probably 4 or 5 times this year I might have gone out for a ride for fun. Whereas I ride a bike pretty much every day for some reason. But I think coming back to running, I realised how much simpler running is. You know, go out running in the rain, the worst you've got to do is dry your trainers.
Yeah.
Rather than take your bike completely to pieces and clean it.
Yeah, good point.
So I've kind of come around to running being what I do for exercise. And because I think it's quite similar to my, you know, what attracted me to mountaineering was I was never a, you know, super technical rock climber, never very good. But what I was interested in was the idea of travel, you know, getting somewhere under your own steam. And I think that's what everything I do is about. So, yeah, in a way, trail running sort of seems more natural. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
well, you're not hemmed in by anything, but I don't mind running on roads. It's fine.
And in terms of transportation, as like running is, what's the furthest journey you've done?
What, running?
Yes.
I don't think I did. Build up to Newport last year, I did 27 and a bit miles, and I think that's the furthest I've ever run in one go.
Really?
I think so.
I'm really surprised at that.
Yeah,
You've been running for such a long time.
yeah. I think I've probably got a mental barrier about, marathon's a long way. So I've never, the only way I'll get over it is to enter a 50k or something.
Yeah, bring you over to the dark side.
Yeah.
I mean, some would say that you've actually, some would say,
Yes.
that you are an ultra athlete because you've run further
Well,
than a marathon already.
well,
Others
yes
might
and
not,
no.
because they might
Mostly
say you
no.
have to run a 50k.
Yeah.
It's
I'm unsure.
I'm not.
All right. Well, maybe that's one for our listeners on Instagram. Tell us what you think by using the hashtag an ultra is what I think it is, and give us your distance.
Yes.
The hashtag an ultra is what I think it is.
It is 50k.
Okay.
but I think
27 miles.
I think there's an element of how you look at it, in that, let's say, to me, what I like about running is I can leave my front door and have an adventure and be back home within 2 hours.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like an ultra runner.
And, you know, like I've done some ski touring in the past. That is bloody hard.
You've done
And
so much.
Really potentially quite dangerous. Probably don't cover that huge distance, but, you know, potentially you can do 4,000 metres of ascent in a day quite easily.
Wow. Oh, love a hill on a sunny day.
And I can't help feeling that I would probably feel better after a 50k race that's flattish
Yeah.
Yeah.
than after doing that.
Run to the sea would be a good one. In ball.
Yeah, I thought about it last year, because I was on form, having got ready for a marathon and the tri and stuff.
Yeah.
But then my brain sort of came off the boil.
Okay. Maybe one for the future.
Possibly.
Lovely view.
Put it on the back burner and
Yeah,
not going anywhere. It's a well-established race, isn't it? So,
it's brilliant. Good medal, good support.
yeah. What I think would be a good opportunity now is I want to congratulate you on being the Kevin Rickerby Superstar from 2024.
Yeah,
That was a
amazing.
surprise.
Yeah, I thought you might be surprised when we were going to announce that.
I only put my numbers in just because I thought, oh, this will be fun. And so, yeah, I was
Which actually is what it's all about.
completely befuddled. But I've never, because of my approach to competitive sport, never actually had my name on a trophy before in my life.
Oh my days.
I know,
Quite funny. And now I have.
So I just want to tell the listeners a little bit about what this is, because Kevin Rickerby is a Superstar. It's a memorial event to commemorate Kevin Rickerby, who was a member of Emerson's Green Running Club, who sadly died in December 2021 following complications due to COVID.
Yes.
He was a life force, from what I can gather. I never met him.
I never met him either.
He was a life force in terms of engagement, encouragement, getting involved, participation.
Yes.
And he did loads of these little challenges during COVID, and a lot of them, I understand, involve jelly babies.
Oh, I see, and that's where the jelly babies come from.
Yeah.
Jelly baby prize comes from there. So.
Yeah,
Right.
he posts photos of a jelly baby race on his desktop.
Really?
Yeah,
How
it's very
fun.
funny.
Which, that was the spirit of the kind of the blitz spirit, wasn't it, around COVID?
Yeah.
People like doing those kind of things and trying to lift mood because it's
Yeah, tough times.
difficult for pretty much everyone. Last year's challenge had like a variety of things, like most distance, elevation per kilometre, park runs,
Yeah.
volunteering, which is probably where you aced it.
And how many most hours running?
Yeah, just like
Well, this is an advantage of running very slowly.
you're out for a long time.
I was out for a long time.
Okay, I see your tactic now.
Yeah,
That's what you're playing for.
yeah.
Okay. And this year we've actually broken it down into four sections. So we've already had the winter edition, which Adrian won. Spring's going on at the moment, which is again most park runs and volunteers. And the other part I can't remember. I should know this.
You should know.
Is it
this,
most elevation?
being the captain.
It is elevation. I
think it is,
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Because I said hit the hills when I announced
You
it.
did.
So thank you. You saved me there. And this is why we have guests.
Absolutely.
To
So,
remind me of the content that we've actually got
yeah,
to talk about.
what we
It
do,
proves
listeners,
someone's reading.
yeah,
That's
we give
nice.
the guest a broad spectrum of what we're going to say. Me and Martin just wing it. The guests just pick us up on the stuff.
They're like the producer.
They are.
We're going to turn right here. Again, we're still in the lovely. Go through the gate. We're in the lovely grounds at State Park Estate in North Bristol.
And it's a lovely sunny day.
Correct. We're probably fresher than you, Duncan, because we didn't run. Do you live local?
Just out by the bridge that's been demolished.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So at the end of Downend, yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not too far from here. That's
No, about 5k, something like that.
Yeah, so you were fresh enough. Let's talk about club this week, shall we?
Okay.
Josh.
Club this week. I didn't go Monday.
I think
And
Monday was a bank holiday.
Oh yes, so they did a run in the
Matt and
morning, I
Trish
think.
did in the morning, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, my wife did it.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
Lucy went and did the run walk. So it was very nice. It was a 5k loop run by Trish. And of course Trish is on her way back from whatever.
Being a bus driver.
Being a bus driver, yes, straight across. Well, she's not recovering.
No. Her work schedule has changed.
No,
Um,
it's become a continuous condition for her.
Yes.
yeah, it's good. Long distance Clara.
And then Tuesday at club, again, I didn't go. And the reason I didn't go is we're having a new bathroom at the moment. And it's difficult to wash.
Oh yeah, you're trying to save the smells.
Yeah.
Just hose yourself down in the garden.
I had
what's
to
been
do that
happening.
on...
That's essentially what I do also. As soon as there's enough leaves on the trees to avoid
okay.
frightening my neighbours.
I had to do that actually on Thursday night, Duncan. It felt like a great idea in my head, but it was incredibly cold. And
When you've just got in though, it fills your body with dolphins.
it does. But the problem was, I said to my wife, just hose me down, but she spent all her time laughing at me, which is not helpful.
Yes, I have actually fitted a shower head in the garden to
Oh,
avoid that problem.
you are thinking ahead.
Oh yes.
Anyway, that was the long version of what happened on Monday night.
And
Just
Tuesday.
got sidetracked. Tuesday, what did they do on Tuesday?
We did. Where did we go? Railway path.
Oh, railway path.
Yes.
Yeah.
I-
So actually, fairly equidistant routes there.
Yes.
Down this way.
I like that one.
So 4.5, 5.5, and a 6.5. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
And then Thursday I did attend, and that was led by Neil. Ooh. And we did bridges.
Bridges was
Hard.
Hard.
I love that session.
I love that one as well.
Because actually, I feel that you can work through the gears.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all guns blazing straight at the beginning. What you can do is you can just start off and just build stuff up.
I'm never certain it's entirely fair on the people running at the back.
Oh,
I think they can end up running quite hard most of the time.
Yeah, I think probably what I think slowing down quite a lot. I think slowing down quite a lot can actually start to, whilst it means that you're not putting people under pressure in front of you, they're going to get the pressure behind you because everyone bunches up again.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't think you should slow down too much, because if you all re-bunch together, then you're right, nobody gets a break.
Yeah.
And then they just end up doing a tempo run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it worked well on Thursday night though. The people at the back, they did get quite a big recovery before we started again.
Yeah. So it's then effort intervals, isn't it, with a loop back?
Yeah.
And on the loop you recover when you get to the back of the group. You wait until the last person kind of peels off, and then you go back for an effort. And that happens when you get back to the bridge that you have turned round at.
Yeah, it's a good session.
But it's well.
It's also very demoralising to do in the dark.
I think it's
Yeah.
better in the summer and safer in the summer.
Every small branch looks like it might be a bridge that you can ease off at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Big oak tree hanging over rather than a concrete structure.
It was a good run. I enjoyed it.
Yes. And I think what I like about it is that I think because we know that there is a risk involved with it, I think everyone tends to look out for each other.
Yeah, it brings us all together, definitely.
Oh, without a doubt. And everyone's really watch out, Josh. Like, just a bit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very much kind of ensuring that everyone is kind of looked after. Everyone's together.
It's
Warning people.
yeah, lots of bikes. But yeah, everybody pulls together, looks after each other. It's a good one. But I do agree with Duncan, probably not the best one to do in the winter.
No. Well, I mean, Duncan, what would you say is your favourite Emerson's workout session?
In a way, the course I enjoy most is Leap Valley.
Yeah.
But
I do like that one.
the course, my house is almost halfway around it.
Mine too.
That can feel quite demoralising.
That's a challenge.
But especially if I've run the club.
Yeah.
So have no reason to need to go back to the changing room. No. But I think again, because it feels quite adventurous, I like Bucklechurch.
I like
It's my
Bucklechurch.
longest route. and you feel like you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really,
That really goes back to your feeling of wanting to go on a journey, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, absolutely.
With
bit
your
of
running.
adventure for you, Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Club Championships is still ongoing at the moment, and we've still got marathons going on until the end of May, which is that episode of the Club Champs.
And there's,
I've had some submissions, one from Josh and one from Neil. I need some more.
one from Neil.
Yeah, Neil did it. He submitted his fallout.
Okay, that's fair enough.
26 mile, the first 26. I think it was the first 26. It would be daft.
It'd be annoying if it wasn't.
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a club championship race tomorrow as well, isn't there?
Yeah, Barclays
Barclays.
10k. Super flat. Are you running it?
I'm not.
Duncan?
No,
You're having a rest.
I haven't really got round to entering much this year. I did Dursley Dozen. That's the only time I've pinned a number on this year, I think.
Okay.
Thank you. That was our prompt there.
Yes.
Okay, so we have got a new feature.
Go on, Martin.
Okay,
You're
I know,
very
I'm
excited
so
about this.
excited about this.
Let the listeners know.
Okay, so this is our new feature, which is called Doynton Dandy or Dozen.
Dandy, Doynton or Dozen. Dandy, Doynton or Dozen.
The Doynton Dandy and Dozen, Duncan, is for any of our guests who have ever been on the show. We ask them the question, which is the hardest? Keynsham Dandy, the Doynton Hard Half Marathon, or the Dursley Dozen? Now they're roughly equidistant,
Roughly.
but have got separate challenges. So, what out of the D's, which one is it that you don't like? Sorry, don't like, but fan
In my humble opinion, I've only done each of them once, and Doynton, I only ever actually ran the race 4 years ago. But I did Dursley and the Dandy within the most recent events.
Yeah.
And I would have said the Dandy is the easiest by a long way.
Yep, I agree.
Me too.
And then I absolutely hated Dursley. I found it really hard. Now, whether part of that was not knowing where I was going, but I reckon it's a harder course than Doynton. Sacrilege, I know, but then Doynton is a lot more familiar to me, which is why I've never run it again, because if I go out on a long run in the winter, chances are I'll do some of that course.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm not sure whether I can be bothered to do it as a race.
Yeah.
and
Understand.
thank you for your entry into Dandy, Doynton or Dozen. I love that.
Dandy, Doynton or Dozen. Dandy, Doynton or Dozen.
I've been so excited.
Not that you can tell. And you are kind of affectionately known, I suppose, and I'm coining this term probably, as the stream saviour at Doynton.
Well, this is the other reason I can't run it.
Yeah.
Because you are required to set up a rope, aren't you?
Oh, well, the rope was an innovation for this year,
Right.
because I reckon I lifted 70% of the race up that bank last year,
Really.
and I wasn't going to do it again, so I put some ropes in.
Very sensible, mate. Very sensible. And what would you sort of, as we're coming to the end today, and it's been brilliant being able to actually get to know you and talk to you, what would be your sort of 3 bits of advice for the sort of the running people out there?
Don't be scared of it. Lots of people, I always, pretty well anything for it. When I used to instruct people in how to walk on mountains and stuff,
Yeah.
I used to say so much of it is in your head. Hardest part is in your head, and I think the same applies to cycling and to running. And it's like, you need to learn to understand suffering.
Yeah.
But once you understand suffering, you actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
That
is difficult to do. I understand where you're coming from.
And also go to parkrun. I wish parkrun had existed when I was in my 20s, in that, you know, I go along because I enjoy volunteering and I enjoy running it.
Yeah.
But for, I think, quite a sizable number of people, it may be their only physical activity in a week and quite possibly their only social contact in a week. And for that, it is just a brilliant thing.
It is, isn't it?
And therefore, you know, everybody should go. Everybody should volunteer. It always surprises me when I see somewhere on the stats it comes up there's something like 7 million registered park runners, and there's less than 1 million of those have volunteered.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you just go once in a year to your local event, if everybody did that, they'd never be short of volunteers.
Yeah.
And it's really good fun.
It
You know,
is
like
good
this
fun.
morning I've been timing at Summerdale, which is a lovely little event, you know.
Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Yeah, obviously known as the Curly Whirly,
Yeah.
because it's on the old site of the old prize factory.
Yeah. I really love your sort of your passion for the parkrun. I think that definitely needs to be
As
celebrated.
I say, if it had existed in the 90s, I would never have stopped running.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd have, even if I eased off for a bit, I'd have come back to parkrun,
Yeah.
got back into it again. And it was very much parkrun that's, you know, now I feel in my head, I'm in the position I always wanted to be when I was in my 20s, of feeling like I am a runner.
Yeah.
You know, I'll run until you tell me to stop, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That, you know, if somebody says you've got to run from here to here, it's not going to faze me. And that's how I feel now, and it's
That's
just
brilliant.
I'm just so happy about that. And as I say, it was very much parkrun that sort of eased me back into that.
This is I love this. Just I really like to meet people who are really passionate about their running and how they just want to share that with everybody else. If you're sat at home in the moment listening to us, slip on some trainers and run around the block.
Go out and do it. It's very, because I volunteer for a cycling charity, and so many people come into us, and they're really nervous about cycling, sort of thing. And the charity's whole purpose is to get as many people cycling as possible.
Sure.
So many people come into us, and I'm like, I'm the world's worst salesman if I'm trying to flog someone a bike, because we've got a room full of second-hand bikes.
Yeah.
What size bike do I want? Well, I don't know, because to me a bike's just a thing that I make fit. So, you know, because I work on bikes all the time, and I understand them. And it's like, well, let's try this one. If it's too small, we'll find you a bigger one. If it's too big, we'll find you a smaller one.
Yeah.
And they
Just
don't,
simple.
you know, unfortunately, the commercial world wants to conform people to rigid structures, like you must have a medium-sized bike or a 50-centimetre bike. It's like, that's nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
You must have the bike you're comfortable on, and then you will enjoy cycling. It's like, it really aggravates me when I see kids' bikes that weigh more than adult bikes. It's like, that's been designed by someone to put a child off what could be the entire fulfilment of their life if only they had a decent introduction to it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with anything you don't know. It's very important not to think, oh, I don't know this, I need to look at the internet to find out about it. Well, that might help, but don't depend on it.
Yeah.
Have the strength of your convictions that you're probably not an idiot. You can probably work out for yourself how to run. You know, it's just give it a go.
Yeah.
And what's the name of your the cycling charity that you work
It's Life Cycle UK.
Yeah,
We
okay.
do all sorts of things. We run bikeability and stuff. I work with the bike recycling project up at HMP Bristol.
Yeah. Great, excellent. Do you know what? Fascinating, and just really great running with you today, Duncan. And thanks for coming on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure.
That's great.
Thank
It's
you.
been fun.
Yeah, well, I've been Martin.
I've been Josh.
I'll continue being Martin as well.
You will be. Yeah. We'll stride by stride.
Thank you for listening.